Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 268 based on novel. So let's start. Luo Feng shut off his large scanner and sneaked closer. This obviously made the black armored youth grow uneasy. He was now unable to detect the enemy. Why did he stop using his large scanner? Did he give up? Yang, I've already checked. The Indonesia race are part of the demon camp in the outer region wars. Haha, thanks Gutuor. Small matter Yang. Whenever you come to Star Tower, come look for me. There are simply too many strong emperors there. A low emperor like yourself going alone will find it very dangerous. Thanks. Luo Feng smiled within the control room. The reason he moved so slowly instead of rushing into battle was because he was waiting for this call. He had confirmed the enemy was from the Indonesia race earlier. They were extremely rare in the outer region wars. It was hard to determine which camp they were with. Since he couldn't determine, he made use of the network of friends. They had friends too, hence, it formed a huge network. He asked Kutuor and Kutuor knew many other emperors. It was a simple enough question. After a while, he found out that the Indonesia belonged to the demon camp. Some Undying had discovered them riding along in a ship with demons before. So he's from the demon camp. That automaton warrior's bounty is only within their own camp, and communication between different camps is forbidden. It's akin to treason and treated with death. The demon side have no way to communicate with the automatons too. The two of them have no connection at all. Using the golden horned beast will be safe this time. Luo Feng smiled. The chances of getting the treasure has risen greatly. Alina, get ready. Yes, master. A blur of tiger-armored bug kings appeared, all giving off intrepid energies. These were much stronger than normal tiger-armored soldiers. Amidst the countless kings was the malevolent Mother Nest. To control 1,000,000 bugs precisely, she couldn't remain within the internal world. Listen to my order. Luo Feng stated. Yes. Alina replied mentally. Alina was Luo Feng's soul slave. The two had a special connection between their souls. There was no need to speak and the two could communicate mentally. Having the 1,000,000 king bugs is like having a deadly weapon. Luo Feng clearly felt the location of the treasure. It was naturally where the black armored youth stood. The only weak point is, nobody would stand still stupidly for the attack and would move around. Hence, combined with a very good scanner and caution, the bug's offense is simply too strong. He actually shifted his position sneakily? Luo Feng smiled. This is the accurate position. Luo Feng ordered. Alina, combine the 1,000,000 kings' attacks at this point. Yes, master. At the core of the blur of bugs that the Mother Nest sent, it controlled the 1,000,000 kings simultaneously. At this time, they were all of one mind. Every one of them had a large energy ball at the tip of their claws. If it's just one shot alone, that was something an Undying could totally ignore. 1,000,000 gathered into one, however, even a pinnacle emperor would fall if he was hit. Countless light balls tore through the skies, almost like countless shooting stars streaking across the skies, all gathering in one spot. The light beam that gathered after 100 seconds of thousands of kilometers tore through the brittle space between. We are under attack. The official Undying level Yang flower plant that had spread 100,000 kilometers about the mountain had unleashed its law domain long ago, spreading an extra 10,000 kilometers about. It immediately detected the terrifying attack. However, by the time it detected it, it was too late. The distance was too close. Rumble. The glaring light made even Luo Feng shudder within. It smashed straight into the countless flowers about, tearing the entire plant apart. It was almost like having one's hair close to fire. The strands would be instantly reduced to ash. The flowers suffered the same fate. Against this attack that made even pinnacle emperors shudder in fear, the flowers were reduced to ash. However, the thick beam of light continued to pierce through the mountain, condensing further within. After piercing through hundreds of thousands of plant life form, it condensed in a spot and exploded. Silence. The land and sky seemed to experience calm. After which, rumble. The mountain the black armored youth hid within was completely destroyed, and countless rocks were reduced to nothing with more being thrown all over within the torn up space slits. The plant life form Yang flowers, countless flowers were instantly reduced to nothing. It was a true annihilation. Luckily its size was huge enough, with a diameter of over 100,000 kilometers. If it was any smaller, it would have died. The explosion spread over 200,000 kilometers, hitting the F9 grade ship. Tear. The ship barely withstood the blast before being torn apart finally. The terrifying blast hit within the ship, and the black armored youth was so scared he even kept both underlings within his world ring, withstanding the blast alone. After several waves of attacks within the rooms, the terrifying force finally dispersed. What a terrifying attack! The black armored youth looked at the torn-up cabin before him, his expression changing. Even with such distance he could destroy the F9 ship. Even normal pinnacle emperors wouldn't have such strength. Is this the attack of a bug army? The combined attack of a bug army was well known as terrifying within the trillions of races. Subservient bugs? He rushed out of the ship and his fists became a blur. Without much precision, he shot out incredibly powerful undying energy straight at the direction from which the blast came from. A 1,000 undying energy light beams instantly shot out. This instantly depleted his undying energy within to almost zero. However, this was fine, as long as he didn't burn any, or destroy any bit of it, it would eventually return to his body. As the undying energy was infused with his consciousness and belonged only to him. This was the power of an undying. Thousands of undying energy light beams shot out. Luo Feng could only laugh at the scene. This Indonesia youth sure is smart, knowing instantly that that was a bug clan attack. However, since I know the bug's weakness, why would I give you the chance? Countless undying light beams tore through the skies. However, they hit nothing. After flying for a while, they hit the distant mountain range. As for the target, the bug army, straight after they had unleashed their attack earlier, Luo Feng had immediately kept them within his internal world. The bug army was one of his trump cards. He couldn't be careless about it. After all, the Emperor's Undyings all had the power to destroy the bug army. Hence, he had to be extremely careful with them. The moment they were destroyed and Alina died, he would have lost his trump card. Poor Indonesia punk, go and die. Luo Feng instantly vanished and passed the Shouwu wings to the golden horned beast. A silver-winged beast immediately appeared in mid-air. It flapped its wings and with 3 flaps, it became a glaring beam of light and shot through millions of kilometers at its target. The moment it made a move, it was to kill. Delaying the battle may have consequences, hence Luo Feng naturally wanted to settle the fight as fast as possible. As he swiftly tore through the skies, the black-armored youth who had failed in his attack frowned. He waved his hands and his 2 underlings immediately appeared in mid-air. Let's separate, release your law domains. We cannot rely on the scanners, we can only use our law domains. The youth ordered. Yes, your majesty. Even though the 2 official undyings were still shocked by the attack before, they knew they had no choice. Su! The 3 Indonesia warriors separated and simultaneously unleashed their law domains, covering the surrounding tens of thousands of kilometers. Without knowing where their enemy was, they couldn't flee, they could only get ready for battle. Relax, the reason his attack was that strong before was probably because of a combined bug army attack. The black-armored youth communicated. And the bug army has to store energy to unleash that powerful attack. Therefore, each attack takes quite some time. I've already retaliated earlier, he's probably already kept the army away, as he probably cannot bear to sacrifice his bug army. A flower flew from the distance. Yang flower. The youth's expression changed. Master, I've lost 62% of my undying body. Luckily I detected the attack a little earlier and spread my flowers apart, hence I managed to save 38% of my undying body. It will take me many years to recover. The plant communicated. The black-armored youth was shocked. Just how powerful was that attack from before? The yang flower had a diameter of close to 1 million kilometers, even with its defense and preparation, before it only managed to save 38% of its undying body. Enemy. One of the officials communicated. The black-armored youth's expression changed and immediately kept the yang flower. Looking ahead, a silver-winged beast was rushing straight over. Its powerful pressure and huge size terrified him. Silver-wing Emperor. The black-armored youth communicated. Silver-wing Emperor, I'm from the automaton camp, there are warriors on your bounty, don't force me. The youth thought, there are very few Indonesia warriors in the outer region wars, this Silver-wing Emperor probably cannot determine within this short time if I'm from the automaton camp. He had explored the Yangji main continent for a while. Through his scanners, he frequently discovered the automaton conversations, hearing about the bounty. This demon camp punk still wants to lie to me, go and die. The rumbling voice resounded in his mind. Simultaneously, the huge silver silhouette rushed over. Fight! The black-armored youth gritted his teeth and shouted. He led his two underlings and got ready to fight. The golden horned beast flapped its wings and unleashed strike travel, instantly leaving an after-image in the air. The silver wings acted like sharp blades rushing at the black-armored youth, and it tore through space like tofu, leaving a terrifying silver light. Die? The beast's eyes gleamed, unleashing its pinnacle technique right from the start. A droning sound could be heard. The youth suddenly stopped as he pointed at Luo Feng. His red gem-like eyes flashed, "Go and die." Immediately, a black thread appeared in mid-air. It was like a thin black snake reaching tens of kilometers in length, but only half a meter thin. The golden horned beast could easily see it. This wasn't some black thread, it was a black chain that acted like a whip. The black whip slashed through the skies like a long chain, stopping the beast. The black whip was a blur in mid-air. The silver wings slashed at the black whip. Kai kai kai, instantly knocking it away. The energy from the whip, however, seemed to constantly affect the beast, causing it to feel uneasy with its speed and sense of time. It was almost like it affected the flow of time. It broke through the beast's attacking presence. Time flow has changed. The beast flapped its wings and floated in mid-air, its eyes staring coldly at the youth. Silverwing Emperor. The youth floated in mid-air and gazed at the huge beast. The automaton warriors have a bounty on you and you still dare to show yourself? If I were you, I'd have left the main continent long ago. Let me advise you to leave quickly. Time laws? The beast let out a low growl. Right. The youth smiled and nodded his head. You should know that a warrior versed in the time laws is very good at fleeing. Even though you are more powerful, it's impossible for you to kill me, it'll be a waste of time for you. The other two underlings stood beside him. Waste of time? The beast spat out human language and roared. While creating Moon Policy, the Primal Chaos City leader had arranged many other race warriors for Luo Feng to fight, and he had managed to kill every one of them. Among which, there were some well-versed in the time laws. Luo Feng was naturally clear on how troublesome it was to deal with them, even so, he had experienced it before. You can try if you don't believe me. The youth said softly. His red gem-like eyes gleamed. A formless soul attack immediately attacked the beast. It instantly passed the general armor. Since its material was special, it had great ability in blocking undying energy. Hence, it instantly reduced over 99% of the attack, leaving just a little, and with the beast god image roaring within. Soul Defense Technique Beast Howl. It dispersed what remained of the attack, leaving behind a weak inkling that did nothing against the beast. There were many ways to defend against a soul attack, this was linked to one's spirit energy levels. When Luo Feng was a normal warrior on Earth, before he was even a star traveler, his spirit energy was unable to pass through metal. Normal metal alone was capable of blocking spirit energy. As his strength grew, the spirit energy began to be able to pass through different materials. The Yunmo planet ship could block any soul attacks below undying level. The weaker it was, the easier it was to block. When one became undying, materials that could stop an undying soul attack were rare. The efficiency was much lower as well. But, the general armor could block 99% of a soul attack. It was simply too heavenly, and such a treasure was definitely a top-class treasure within the universe. Even the knights wouldn't be able to find such a treasure. Howl! The beast howled and rushed at the youth. The black whip lashed about and the time flow changed with it. The beast, however, let out a mad roar and unleashed its strike travel, flashing over and changing its position. Bastard! The youth's expression changed. The control of time flow was usually affected a limited area. If the golden horned beast was stuck in one spot, then it would be much easier for the youth. However, with the beast flashing about now, changing its position constantly, it forced the youth to constantly change the area he was affecting, and this was very taxing. Stop him! The youth ordered. Yes, your majesty. One of the two officials controlled a blur of silver threads, over 10,000 of them, and used them to engulf the beast. The other controlled a water-like cage that rushed at the beast too. This Indonesia youth is trying to stop me and trap me within a small space, then either fight it out or flee. That would be his choice. Luo Feng looked at the two official underlings and understood his battle style. Countless silver threads rushed over. A water cage rushed over. You two officials dare to fight me? The beast howled loudly, causing the vast ice land to rumble. The ice layer on the ground and mountain around him to tear apart. The beast's speed reached its limit, leaving the others stunned as it walked about. The silver threads and water cage couldn't even touch it. How can it be so fast? It's absurd. Our spirit weapons cannot even catch it. The two officials were stunned. The black-armored youth was stunned too. In terms of instantaneous speed and warping, even a pinnacle emperor wouldn't be that fast. He didn't know that the Showu wings was most adept at movement. You two little punks will die first. He warped in mid-air and the beast rushed straight at the two officials. They tried to control their spirit weapons to protect them, but they were simply too slow. Be careful. The black-armored youth controlled his black whip and was about to keep the two undyings in his world ring. However, the moment the world energy spread out, the golden horned beast used its two wings to form a ripple through the space, completely shattering the world energy. How? Against the black whip, the beast used its right wing to stall it, while its left wing acted like a huge blade that was over hundreds of kilometers long, slashing through the air. It left a dazzling flash of light over 10,000 kilometers long in space that lingered for a long time. Rumble. The two officials instantly exploded from the attack. At that instant, one of them began to reform. Luo Shou, Luo Shou. The reforming official's expression changed to that of an extreme shock. Luo Shou is dead, he's dead. What? The distant black-armored youth's expression changed. Your Majesty, Luo Shou is dead, and I lost 6% of my undying body. Luo Shou was a high official, getting killed with one hit. The surviving underling was shocked. This silver-wing emperor has pinnacle emperor strength. A high emperor could kill a high official, however it would take quite some time. They didn't know. The beast itself had the strength of a high emperor, and with the Showu wings, it had the strength of a pinnacle emperor. Pinnacle emperor. The youth's expression changed. A pinnacle emperor proficient in space laws, he should be able to teleport. If he uses that, I'd long have lost out. However, it hasn't used it at all. Yet, its speed is unbelievable. He probably has yet to study teleportation, and studied the other parts of space laws instead. I cannot mess with a pinnacle emperor. If he burns part of his undying body, I'd be dead. The youth gritted his teeth. Flee? He was completely shocked. One of his two underlings, a high official, was actually destroyed in just one hit. That was terrifying. Silverwing Emperor. The youth howled, his voice transmitting via undying energy towards the golden horned beast. How? The beast turned, its dark gold eyes staring at the tiny little creature. Stop! The youth's gem-like red eyes suddenly shot out two red lights. They swiftly expanded and covered a 100 kilometers around the beast. The beast suddenly stopped within the light. The youth turned and fled. He accelerated and fled in a straight line. Time stop. The beast instantly understood. Even though its body was affected, he could still think and function mentally, but was only unable to move. Its wings were unable to move too, its eyes and ears unable to see or hear anything. Darkness, silence. This was a silent dark world, only its consciousness wasn't affected. There were usually only two ways to break the time stop. One was to be adept in time laws. The other was for those not trained in time laws, was to break through forcefully. Break. 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 Luo Feng howled within. The beast howled madly from within, naturally unleashing all its strength. The Showu wings also shook violently, almost like it was bound by a formless rope. Crumble. Something crumbled. He stared at the vast ice land ahead, seeing the distant mountain range crumbling from the bug army's attack, hearing the howl of the winds. Flee? You think you can flee? The beast instantly felt the location of the treasure. It was already 1 million kilometers away. Not good. Luo Feng felt the Naisha youth fleeing swiftly and knew the situation wasn't good. After him. The beast flapped its wings and tore through the skies, instantly disappearing from sight. The black-armored youth had already reached sub-light speed and close to light speed. It was the maximum speed one could hit here on Yangji main continent. Because of the universe secret region environment, it was impossible to break through. The golden horned beast had no way to pass this limit too. Also, since the black-armored youth was flying in a straight line, it was impossible to catch up. What do? I cannot catch up. Unless I unleash my world projection, spreading it over 90 million kilometers to slow his movement, otherwise I won't be able to catch him. Luo Feng pondered for a while. According to the information he gathered from the battle before, he made a new decision. This Indonesia youth can actually stop time? It won't be easy for me to kill him then. I'll have to trick him then. The beast continued to chase the youth. One ahead of the other, they were flying at the maximum speed. Luo Feng activated his large scanner. Even though he could still detect his enemy without it, he didn't want to reveal this fact. With the large scanner, the enemy could rely on his mini scanner to jam Luo Feng's scanner. However, that scanner only had an area of 20 kilometers, and with sublight speed. With such speeds, the air ripples would be torn apart. In fact, there would even be space ripples around. Even though they sped past, there would still be clear indications in the air and space. Through the air and space indications, one could naturally determine the accurate location of the enemy. He's still chasing. Just what grudge does this Silver Wing Emperor have with me to chase me non-stop? Even though he knows he cannot catch me, he's still not giving up. The youth maintained his max speed and flew. With his mini scanner, he knew that the Silver Wing Emperor was still scanning him. He was filled with rage. Keep chasing, let's see how far you can chase me. I'm already at maximum speed, you will at most be at the same speed. This way, you will never catch me. The youth gritted his teeth. Like two shooting stars, a small and a large one was flying along the same path. This chase lasted over 6 hours. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. The originally ashen black armored youth suddenly revealed a manic laugh. He maintained his speed as he laughed. I knew you'd never be able to catch me. Since he would never be able to catch up, he would give up eventually. Ha ha, looks like he's really given up. His mini scanner had discovered that the signal from the large scanner had disappeared. Obviously he had stopped scanning. When he stopped his scanning when I was in the cave before, that was understandable. However, with me flying at max speed, I may change directions suddenly. Since he stopped his scan, he naturally won't be able to find me. The youth was very happy, he could finally relax after the chase. He continued flying forward for over 3 hours, then changing his direction for another day, then changing for another day. A total of 9 days had gone by. Finally he flew above a large river. I've flown consecutively for 9 days, changing my direction constantly. Without the large scanner, he naturally won't be able to find me. The youth stood in the air above the river and smiled coldly. Silver Wing Emperor? Hee, I won't forget your chase. This grudge, I will definitely return it. He pierced straight into the river. It was blue in color and deep, as cold air emanated from it. Half a day later, a black disk ship appeared in the air above the river, within the control room. A black armored and black-winged Luo Feng sat in his sofa, lifting a glass of boiling tea and sipping. Cautious indeed. Luo Feng smiled. How would you know that despite all this, I can still easily find you? The powerful calling that Luo Feng's cells reacted to, just how strong was that? Every cell was jumping from it and locked in on the treasure's location. Killing him sure is difficult. I didn't expect a low emperor to have the ability to use time stop. Luo Feng muttered. Looks like he should be a genius from one of the Indonesia races. Just like humanity with its many other races, some with more talent than others, the demon race had the empires, royals, and so on, the Indonesia race was similar. Time stop. If only I had this move too. Luo Feng muttered. Teleportation and time stop, they were both heavenly techniques. Teleportation, it was a space heavenly technique. Time stop was that of the time laws. In comparison, time stop was stronger. The moment one was hit by it, they would instantly be unable to defend, the enemy could choose to flee or attack. Of course, it took different amounts of time to break through the time stop. Luo Feng was unprepared, he didn't expect a low emperor to have the ability to use it. If one is prepared, he could maintain his defenses. However, he would still require about a second to break through. To a pinnacle emperor, he would simply take 0.1 second to forcefully break through. However, to an emperor, 0.1 seconds was enough to attack multiple times. Luckily, the Indonesia race truly thought I was an emperor level with an undying body. With his level of strength, he wouldn't even be able to damage me, hence he chose to flee. Luo Feng thought. However, that was right. Even if he attacked me, the golden horned beast has the general armor and the cloud contact vine within it. With these two defenses, even if he self-destructs, I may not die. The cloud contact vine was huge. Hence, it could form a layer of armor over the entire beast easily. The disc ship floated above the river. Suddenly a huge silver beast appeared and the ship disappeared. The beast looked down and rushed into the river. It easily rushed tens of thousands of kilometers in, only then did it stop. The secret regions were filled with dangers about. This river was cold enough to freeze even a domain lord warrior. But of course, it was no threat to the golden horned beast. Alina. Master. Million bugs, once again, give my enemy beautiful fireworks. Yes, master. The beast looked down at the huge deep river. It reached over 1 million kilometers deep. But some regions were only 200,000 to 300,000 kilometers deep. The beast saw through the bottom rock layer, down where the youth was hiding. The experience from the previous battle made it very clear that it was impossible to defeat this youth through normal battle. Especially with his time stop. Luo Feng didn't know his strengths before. Now that he did, he naturally wanted to eliminate him with one move without giving him a single chance. Kill him within 30 seconds. Weng weng weng. The malevolent tiger armored kings appeared around the beast. 1 million of them were like countless locusts. And beside them, the mother nest appeared. Everything happening about was jammed by Luo Feng's large scanner. As he maintained about 600,000 kilometers of distance from the enemy, and the enemy's small scanner only had a diameter of 20 kilometers, he naturally didn't discover this. Attack! Luo Feng ordered. The coordinates are. He informed Alina. Below the rock layer of the river, within a cave lay an F9 ship. The youth had a total of over 10 such ships. As he had 12 undying underlings all with different improvement speeds, the strongest were the 2 that came along with him before. Among the other 10, 6 were officials while 4 were normal undying generals. Within one of the cabins in the F9 ship was a G-grade cabin. With a length and width of 10 m and height of 5 m, it was more expensive than the tens of other F9 grade ships. Your Majesty, the Silver Wing Emperor truly doesn't care about his safety. With the automaton bounty, if he flies in the air, he could easily be detected by the automaton camp, hence, it's normal that he didn't chase. And he cannot deal with you either, you don't have to worry. 3 underlings sat beside him. The black-armored youth nodded. This G-grade cabin should have some use against that terrifying attack from before. The youth thought. A cabin able to defuse 90% of the attack would be not bad already. Luo Feng had the Shouwu wings and the material used to make it had an effect better than a G-grade cabin, yet it could still only defuse over 90% of an attack. Ambush! The youth's expression suddenly changed. Rumble! A terrifying attack tore through the layers of stone and hit the ship. This made the youth's eyes gleam with fear. I didn't even detect any scan, how can we get attacked? Is the Silver Wing Emperor so terrifying that even his large-scale scanner is better than my mini-scanner? Rumble! The F9 ship was almost like a box being ripped open, the internal cabins were reduced to bubbles as the explosion hit the G-grade cabin. Rumble! The G-grade cabin was like a soccer ball being kicked. It became like a shooting star and flew out. The surrounding millions of kilometers of space was already torn apart, and this G-grade cabin had a huge dent in the part where it was hit. A tear occurred at the middle of it as layers of space spun madly within. It was tragic for the black-armored youth. The moment he sensed the attack, he instantly kept his 3 underlings. However, the force of the combined attack from the bug army was simply too terrifying. It instantly destroyed the F9 ship and exploded on the G-grade cabin. Even though it only destroyed part of that cabin, the force it generated reduced the chairs and tables within to dust. The space particle flow within flowed madly, even the low Emperor youth was shaken so badly his body exploded. His body reformed. It actually destroyed 3% of my undying body. The youth was completely shocked. Without the G-grade cabin, he probably would have died instantly from that attack. After which, he expanded his law domain. At this time, he was already amidst the particle flow. Silver Wing Emperor. He discovered a huge silver beast amidst the particle flow rushing in, flying straight at the cabin. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.